What up, people, and welcome to the book club with one mother, three sisters, and a whole lot of hot takes and cool insights. This is The Family Plot. I'm Angel, the host and the heart of the crew, joined by my baby sister Cam, our resident conspiracist, and our mama Lisa, the occasional voice of reason. We are joined by Glenna, my sister-in-law, with the insightful takes. All right, so here's how we get down. Each month, we discuss a book of our choosing. Every week, I'll share a brief summary of the chapters we've read, and then we each pick a discussion question to answer. We'll also share our first impressions, predictions, and anything else that comes up along the way. This month's selection is the first of a three-part series by Carrie Maniscalco called Kingdom of the Wicked. It's a young adult fantasy novel that follows Amelia, a strega or witch, as she seeks vengeance for the death of her twin sister Victoria. Amelia, who lives among humans, uses dark magic and summons Wrath, a prince of hell, to help her find her sister's killer. The story blends themes of vengeance, romance, and dark magic in a world where witches live in secret. If any of that interests you, go ahead and pull up a chair, pour some tea, get cozy as we get into this month's book, right here on The Family Plot, where every chapter digs deep. All right, ladies, we are back for week 4, our finale of Kingdom of the Wicked. Woo! Yeah! I see y'all over there. All right. So our first half, chapters 37 through 42. Emilia finds Claudia in a trance-like state, caught between the realms after scrying. Claudia warns Emilia that death is near and tells her to run. As monastery brothers gather, Emilia sends Claudia to Nona for help as she sets off to question Domenico. She's furious at Claudia's aunt for putting her in danger with the scrying. Along the way, Amelia is intercepted by a vampire named Alexei, who reveals Prince Envy is at her family's restaurant. Back home, Amelia discovers that Envy orchestrated her grandmother's attack and tricked Claudia into breaking the protective spell around their house. Envy demands the Horn of Hades in exchange for her family's safety and tells Amelia that Wrath ultimately needs to claim her soul to achieve his own freedom. Betrayed and conflicted, Amelia confronts Wrath. Though he insists his actions prove his loyalty, she leaves him and plans to make a deal with Envy herself. Amelia returns home to find Envy threatening her again, but Nona surprises them both by casting a powerful spell that banishes him. Nona reveals that Amelia has been marked by Wrath and can summon him without a physical link. She also reveals a prophecy. The twin sisters were destined to bring balance to the realms and must make sacrifices to keep the gates of hell closed. Overwhelmed, Emilia leaves to clear her head. She begins piecing together symbols and memories, realizing the steel door from before is marked with the symbol of shapeshifters. She returns to the abandoned building, finds a hidden passage, and hears voices calling her deeper into the mystery. Baby, we must do first impressions. So first and foremost, I thought it was interesting that Emilia thought Claudia had or thought Carolina had Claudia do the scrying when really it was Envy who like tricked her into breaking that protection spell. And I really feel like he had something to do with her mind being trapped between those realms. It was just a whole mess. Baby girl was about to get exercised by Brother Carmine. All the brothers was just filling up the courtyard. Like I was just, it was a mess. Um, Also, these voices. She'd been hearing these voices for a while. I thought it was interesting that she kept hearing them and heard them louder and louder as she gets into this corridor. Um, Her and Wrath, I really cut it short in this summary. Like her confronting him threw me because the way she confronted him was with a makeout session. Some real heated talks back at the palace, and I'm just like, this how you get your information, girl? I mean, maybe the tensions were just so high. I mean, she did get a lot of information from Nona just now about the prophecy and all that jazz. So, I don't know. Me personally, if I were being told that my entire existence, was going to affect the gates of hell, I wouldn't necessarily be hot in the pants, but here we are. So, um, that said, Glenna, please share your first impressions.
I put my mouse where belongs to turn the thing off. Definitely shocked with how situations were handled in this section. Claudia's situation is very concerning, regardless of who, orchestrated it, what she was seeing and what she was saying. There were so many different things. I swear we could probably spend an hour just deconstructing what she was speaking, and probably plan on spending some time doing that sometime in the future, just when I, can breathe again from reading this. Just because I want to do a little of a deeper dive into that, just because it was interesting. Definitely think that was an interesting way to get information out of somebody. I agree with you on that. Not exactly where I would have gone with that. I probably would have thrown something at his head, but that's just me. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. The kind of I kind of expected the behavior from Nona, just because, we've known that she's not exactly been up front. So not being as, clear with her own power level was not surprising, but you know, the fact that she just kind of stepped out and went wham, and it's like, okay, where have you been? But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with this section so far. And with that, I yield.
Thank you, Glenna. And my thoughts exactly. I'm like, well, no, the hell, where have you been at? But then I'm like, okay, well, you did get your throat slit by a demon. So, but even still, even
She has something to say.
clearly, Cam has something to say. First impressions, Cam, go ahead.
I'm sorry. That's why Nona got her throat slit, because she out here lying. And that solves all the problems if you just would have been forthcoming. That's all I'm saying. It was wild. It was all wild. A couple people got some really in caps text. It was wild. I agree. I yield. That's all. That's why Nona got cut. She keep lying.
Thank you for that, Cam. I appreciate such an assessment. Yes. Mother, first impressions, please.
I'm gonna be honest, that whole segment with Claudia ranting, that took me for a loop. I had to go through that twice. Because even though, she said, I think the fact that Amelia said she appears to be ranting, but she knows she's not, meaning she understands she was caught between two worlds. And some of the stuff she was saying, I was like, okay. And it kind of alluded to what has happened toward the end of the book. But I think what got me is as we read on, I don't trust Antonio, Domenico, the fact that in 38, I was thrown because she said she dropped her amulet after she was dealing with Prince Envy. That threw me for a loop. And, just to find out Envy was waiting for her when she got home. I was kind of overtaken at the fact that, Envy gave up what he believed to what was Raph's motive. And yeah, the whole lustful scene where she was truly overtaken by lust. That was I wrapped that up into a horny much, confused, conflicted, young, dumb, and full of cum kind of situation. But when she got done, yeah, because you started out. I mean, you over here. I mean, you gotta touch him. You done ripping his shirt off, buttons hitting the floor. You did all of this, even though in the back of your mind you mad because you heard that he needed another soul. But you touching him, kissing him. The only thing she didn't do was wrap her legs around him, but they was close enough because he had lifted her up and his hands was up her hips and all that other wonderfulness. So I mean, I guess at some point she say, before you stick it in, let me ask you this question. And that's what stopped the whole scenario. Because that's where they were. They were right there. They doing all the things. And then you remembered, oh, wait a minute. I need to ask you a question. Girl, figure out your life. Either be pissed off and get your answers or get you some and then worry about it later. It's too much of a roller coaster right there. I'm sorry. That's where I was. I was mad because she was conflicted as hell. You want it, then you don't want it. You want, girl. See, that's why. And I'm not for rape, but I understand when you do crazy stuff like that. You don't turn men on like that. I know I'm a yield, but that's where I am. Don't ask me for my impression when I didn't go tell me to stop.
I ain't telling you to stop. I'm just asking, are you yielded? Because I think the point is that
I was angry at how she handled herself. I really was, because as smart as you are and as intelligent and as witty as you've been in dealing with these demons, for you to let yourself go like that when you know your emotions could be manipulated. Come on now. You better than that. And with that, I yield. I realize she a kid.
Pam says in the chat she's also a child. Technically, she is of age, being 18, but yes, she has a childlike mind in this scenario.
Who is extremely cunning when dealing with these demons.
What's killing me though here is that, Mom, as you were getting very descriptive, both Pam and I had our heads in our hands. Like I'm looking up from the screen and all I see is
face palms. I'm sorry. See, that's why y'all shouldn't ask me about first impressions, because I'm just okay. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Discussion questions. Mom, I'll have you go first. We have betrayal and truth, Claudia's collapse, the power of prophecy, Nona's role, power and consent, and sacrifice and purpose. Pick your poison.
Let's go with Nona's role.
All right. Nona has known about the family's ties to the wicked all along. Was she right to keep the truth from the girls, or did her secrecy do more harm than good?
That's a given. Come on. You did more harm than good. The reality of it is, the true reality of that whole scenario is, lie by omission, like Cammie said. When those girls, I get that you are prepping them, you're trying to keep them aware of all the things they need to be aware of without actually telling them. But at the end of the day, when they became of age, and they are, and Nona ain't crazy either. The fact that these girls are going out, they're going to the monastery, serving all these men, all this other stuff. And when the signs came about, is when Nona should have started talking. She should have revealed those things, and she, if nothing else, she should have told them about the prophecy. And she neglected to do that. And then at the point that you finally decided to do that is when the demon came in and was like, oh, yep, no, you ain't finna tell. But you had ample opportunity even before the signs came. But it was more impactful when you saw some of those signs coming. When you first started, you knew about the prophecy. You should have opened your mouth and said something then. That's why sometimes it is best to be upfront and open with your kids, even if you don't want to, because it's the stuff that they don't know that can hurt them just as much as the stuff that they do.
Say that. Yes.
And with that, I yield.
Thank you for that assessment, Mother. Please go ahead and go back on mute. Cam, pick your poison, ma'am.
Mother stole my question, so give me 2 seconds. Let's see. The power of prophecy.
Oh, okay. Power of prophecy. How does the revelation of the prophecy affect your understanding of Amelia and Victoria's story? Does knowing their fate was pre-written undermine or strengthen their choices?
That's actually a really good question.
Well, thank you. If you can.
I understand a little bit more why they behaved the way and they did, because to me the whole point of a prophecy is that somebody has foreseen the future. So somebody somewhere just knew that this was going to play out how it played out, and Victoria was probably going to die, but it took Victoria to die for Amelia to become the person with the balance. So I kind of understand. Knowing that it was pre-written, I can't fully say that it undermines their choices, but I can't fully say it strengthens their choices either. Because Amelia was making some really stupid decisions. Balance bringer or not, she was making some really stupid decisions. So I think knowing that it was pre-written, it makes sense why she was on the path that she was, but I don't think it fully backs up a lot of the decisions she made, because she could have still fulfilled her role and made different choices at the same time, at least to me. And I yield.
Thank you, Cam. I feel that. If anything, knowing that there was a prophecy here only makes me have more questions. But I really enjoyed your answer to that question. So, Glenna, pick your poison, ma'am.
Claudia's collapse.
Claudia's descent into madness after scrying shows the dangers of dark magic. Was Amelia right to blame Carolina, or was Claudia ultimately responsible for her own choices?
Well, first of all, we only have Amelia's suspicion that it was Carolina that spurred Claudia's descent into this. Because just as Amelia has done, Claudia could have made the decision to look of her own, wanting to see and wanting to find out information for her own grief in her cousin's death, and friend's death in Victoria. So I don't necessarily think that Amelia is wrong that Carolina might have influenced this just because of the nature of the magic the family practices. But I think that it's not just we don't know for sure because Claudia is not in a mental state to answer who caused her to make those decisions. But I think her scrying and her I don't necessarily classify what she's going through as a descent into madness, because I don't think she's on the edge of insanity. I think she's stuck in a vision, and a very accurate one, because I was rereading it a little bit ago. I'm on 285 if you want to follow along, but
if you
she's
have your
bas-
Bibles, children, go ahead and go to.
I mean, there's two sections of hers, one on 285 and one on 287 that I'm going to go over. But it's just, if you just start listening to it, especially when she starts talking about Amelia herself, you know, and you'll burn and burn, and the moon will have her vengeance, and the sun will swallow us whole, and there will be nothing left, stars. The stars are out, and they're falling, and they're referred to as star witches. So they're falling. Falling like feathers ripped from the mighty raven, because he craves their meat, and she wishes to feed until he's gorged, but he will never be satisfied. And then if you flip to the 2 pages over, about 2/3 of the way down, Angel Mortis, or Angelus Mortis, the angel of death, he is coming and he is cunning. who stole the stars and drank them dry. He will take you, you're already gone. And I think that is the perfect foreshadowing for what we see in the next section of chapters. And it's why I said I want to go through. I have this chapter marked to review at a later date, because I want to go through before I start reading it, before if I decide to pick up the next section, which I probably will, whether for book club or not. I want to read through her predictions and kind of study them a little more before I read the next section, because I think they're going to be very important. Because, yeah, I think the very last line of that paragraph, "You are here but not there. There is where you will be, and your life is ended," has so much more weight now than it did when I read it the first time. So I don't think she's mad. I think she's stuck in a vision. And I don't know. My prediction is that when what ultimately happens at the end of the book happens, I think we'll find that Claudia is out of her vision, because it's done. So that was very, very proud. And yes, I yield. Very profound.
You know what, Glenna, you're absolutely right. I completely forgot that Valentina was Claudia's cousin, and that she was grieving and getting into that vengeance state of mind as well. That makes a lot of sense why it would motivate her to go in with the scrying, because she was like, no, I want to see what's going on. That makes sense to me. All right. Okay, what am I going to choose? Okay, so we did Power of Prophecy. Y'all did Nona's Role, Claudia's Collapse. I will do Betrayal and Truth. Do you believe Wrath was truly betraying Amelia, or was his secrecy justified in the name of protecting her? Yes and no. I do believe that he was protecting her because that's what the spell required, right? First and foremost. I also believe that his betrayal, so to speak, isn't necessarily a betrayal of her as much as it is an upholding of his own agenda. It's more like all things work together. And it just so happens that you are a casualty to the end of what I'm trying to do. How much weight should Amelia place on his actions versus his intentions? Really good question, because one of the things that I remember Wrath saying when she confronted him was, so Envy come up in here and tell you one thing, and everything I've done to protect you is just at the wayside. Like, even this palace who's set to protect everything, and I, the person who can't be killed, is in this palace. Like, and he had a good point. Like, he did do a lot to protect her, to comfort her, to restore her with the elemental ritual after being succumbed to lust. Even taking the time to try to teach her about strategy with the card game. Those actions aren't just of somebody fulfilling an obligation of a protection spell. But at the same time, I think Amelia is right to have some feelings of betrayal here. I do think she should not disregard his actions entirely. And I do think that it's a little difficult to really place what your intentions are if I am the end all be all to a plan for your own gain. It's a difficult situation, but I get it. And with that, I yield. Any final thoughts, ladies, on this half before we move forward. Mother, I can't see your camera. Are you with us still? I'm assuming you with us still. And we gonna truck along. All right. The final half of the book. I don't know why I did it this way, but hang on, y'all. Now I got to go back. Okay. Technical difficulties. Yeah. Gonna share my screen again. Sharing the screen now. And now. Okay. Y'all see it? Great. Okay. So, last half of the book. Emilia follows a secret passage beneath the shapeshifter marked building and finds her missing Cornicello. Wrath appears and warns her that invisible demons are closing in. When they attack, Wrath defends her, but Envy appears, gravely wounds Wrath, and demands the Horn of Hades. Instead of giving them up, Emilia merges the two horns and gains a surge of power. Envy flees, but Wrath disintegrates, leaving Emilia heartbroken. Back at the palace, she attempts to summon Wrath using the golden ring he left her, but fails. Hopeless, she doubts if he's still alive and mourns everything she's lost: her sister, her family's safety, and now Wrath. Determined to take action, Emilia visits Domenico's father and discovers he's a shapeshifter and part of a bargain with greed. She learns Domenico Jr. is still in town and suspects the monastery harbors a witch hunter, likely Brother Carmine. She infiltrates the monastery and is led to a hidden chamber where she discovers La Prima's grimoire. There, Antonio reveals himself as Vittoria's killer, working with Envy under the false pretense or the false belief that killing witches would help defeat the devil. Antonio becomes possessed by Pride, who offers Emilia a wedding dress and a dark bargain. She refuses to let him kill Antonio, saying she'll handle her revenge herself, and agrees to marry Pride, but on her own terms. When she returns to the cave where she first summoned Wrath, he's waiting, cold and businesslike. She lays out her demands: no more witch hunts, no human harm, and Hell's royalty must remain in their realm. Wrath agrees. Emilia signs the contract, ready to become queen, not for love, but for vengeance, power, and justice. Baby, first impressions. I don't even want to go first. Anybody want to go first on first impressions? No takers. Okay, because this was a lot. This was a large order.
I told y'all I didn't trust Antonio. That's all I'm gonna say.
You also you called it the fennel symbol on the door. Mm-hmm. You did say in one of these weeks that it was shapeshifters, and you was right. I, however, did not realize by shapeshifters they meant werewolves, but I don't know what else I could have been thinking. I mean, I don't usually be in the fantasy book like that, but yes. Mother, you want to give first impressions? Because I can't. I'm still recovering from all of that information. No? Okay.
Well, I will say this. When baby girl was ranting, in between, let me go back to my notes. I took notes. I had
come on, notes. Yes.
Oh girl, I got page notes. So she said so many things. And like it's back where Glenna was talking about on those pages we were talking about. She was saying how death comes bearing friendship, which made you think. Hide your heart, and then she says it's too late. Now, what threw me was where she said they took the ticker and burned it. So I was wondering, was she talking about La Prima's daughter long ago or what? It's kind of that one kind of threw me off. But she went into, he's coming, he's going, he's a smart thief. He will take you. You already gone. He chose. You choose, but he has chosen. And then she goes into, I'll mourn, but I am mourning. The angel of death claimed you, changed you. You're here, but not here. There is where you will be. Your life ended, same but different for eternity. So all of that, when she got through all of that ranting, I was like, oh, she gonna end up down there. Under what pretenses, no one knows. But the fact that she was ranting on both sides of what's going on right now versus what's going to be going on, kind of gave the indication for me that at some point she was going to end up down there. We just didn't know the prospects or the rationale of how that was going to play out. So yeah, I was kind of prepared, still concerned, but kind of prepared.
I agree, Mom. I think early on, when the first couple witches started getting killed, I was like, okay, somebody gonna marry Pride. Somebody's going to marry the devil. I just don't know how we're gonna get there. So I agree. So since I'm here, first impressions, when Amelia joined them horns together and got that little surge of power, I was feeling real. Oh, okay, girl. Yes. Envy. Bye. Like, I was really here for it. And back at the palace, when she realized Wrath left her a piece of gold so that she could still summon him, I almost cried because I'm like, you literally thought of everything. Everything. You gotta care about this girl. When we realized Domenico Sr. is the Domenico that Victoria wrote about in her diary, my jaw dropped. When we realized not only that, but that Domenico is a shapeshifter, aka a werewolf, my jaw dropped further into the ground. When we realized Domenico Jr. was the first werewolf to shift in over 20 years, and that's why he be at the monastery praying every day, baby, my jaw dropped into hell with Wrath and everybody else. So, yeah, a lot of shock there. Wasn't expecting that. When she discovers La Prima's grimoire, I wasn't shocked, but I was shocked because I still have no idea like who the voices that were in the room. The room was like surrounded by Latin words, and there's grimoires in the middle of the room, and the voices kept getting louder and louder and louder as she entered the room. I'm just like, who is talking so much and why are they so loud? I want to find out who this hooded figure is. And when we found out that the hooded figure was Antonio, I honestly was shocked she didn't kill him right there. But I'm eager to see what she does with Antonio once she gets on down into the underworld. When she and Wrath reunite at the cave and he's all like cold and distant and very sullen and business-like, it kind of broke me a little bit because I'm just like, but how else could you be at this point? Because you know that even if you do care for this girl, she gotta marry your brother. That's just what it is. And he's still a prince of hell at the end of the day. I like that she was still able to be strategic in her demands and saying, y'all need to stay y'all tails right down in the underworld. Don't do none of this witch hunting stuff. Don't attack no more humans. Stay y'all asses down there and we gonna be all right. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, I think it was a really cool way to end the books. Just saying, like, I hope the underworld's ready for a vengeful queen. Because baby, she mad. She ready. She ready. And with that, I yield. Cam or Glenna, what are your first impressions? Glenna, come forth.
First thing, I think we all keep referring to the shapeshifters as werewolves. I don't think they're werewolves. I think this is the difference between therianthropes and lycanthropes. They're not what we would traditionally think as werewolves because they're not driven by the moon. They just shift. So I think they're more therianthropic. They just happen to shift into wolves.
I did not know there was a difference.
There is.
Okay.
The joys of an extensive fantasy background. It's what I read typically.
That was something new. He said they shift, and I saw wolf, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh.
Not gonna lie. When I discovered that the person who killed Victoria was Antonio, I may have put the book down and did a happy dance because I was right.
You were so right. You called it. I think in week 1 you called it.
It was just a suspicious amount of weird information. So, although the questions are still there because he admitted to doing that, but he also admitted that there was somebody who was pointing the information out to him, and we still don't know who that person is. We don't know if it's a prince of hell that was manipulating him, or whether it was Brother Carmine, or whether it is somebody else. So we don't know where whoever was manipulating him was playing on his, his grief and insecurities and in his own right, but I don't think we know where that who that player is yet. So, as far as her decisions, I'm curious to see how ironclad that contract is. Because I honestly don't think Wrath is going to give her up that easily.
You don't?
No, I don't. Because he's betrothed to her and then she signs the contract. However accidental that betrothal was. So, how solid is a contract when a contract is already in place? I mean, when somebody marries somebody, they can't get married again. And some contractual relationships are just as binding in whatever, like, mythical, legal, whatever we have in our system we have. So, is this contract really binding because there was already one in place?
Yes, but I thought the second that she sold her soul, that their marriage contract was null and void. Am I mixing
There
it?
was no mention of that whatsoever.
Okay, that's my assumption. My bad.
It's an easy assumption to make because you think that because Pride is the one that everybody is, is focused on, that everything to do with him takes precedence. But Pride isn't the king of hell. Pride is still a prince of hell. They are all princes of hell. So how does the hierarchy of that work?
So maybe I'm wrong, but I thought we read it as, so in the entire book, they've used the devil and Pride interchangeably.
Yeah.
Which to me says, okay, the devil is the one who's ruling hell.
Yes,
right?
but it's always been the witches that have referred to him as the devil, never the princes. They always refer to him as Pride. So is the devil a designation by the human religion or his designation of rank?
Yes. So with that, I assumed that for some reason in this universe, among the 7 princes of hell, that one of them princes was the actual devil and was therefore ruling.
I'm not saying that he's not the devil. I'm not saying that that is not the role he plays. But we're making an assumption that the devil is the leader of hell, not just a prince within it.
That's interesting. Well, who else would be the leader of hell if not the devil?
There is no mention of any hierarchy higher than the princes. They could rule their kingdom separately. We don't know the structure of hell because we've not been down into hell. So we don't know.
Okay. All right.
All right. And with that, I yield. Or you've got a map, but not all of us have the map.
Oh, Lord. Cam, hold your peace, girl. We're going to get to the map. I see Mom has a hand raised. Go ahead. Mother.
Well, my thought was when they said, yes, they did intertwine, pride with the devil or this, that, and the other, but they also talked about each prince having his own area that he ruled and reigned in. So in my envision, and I could be wrong, it could be something in terms of like the Holy Trinity, where Father, Son, Holy Ghost is one being, even though they all encompassing of one God. You know what I mean? And it could be something similar in hell, in that the devil is the seven deadly sins, or what is makes up the devil in itself, the Trinity, the not the Trinity, but the being of the devil is, you know what I mean, in that respect, because like they said, or the devil could be another superior being altogether that has these seven princes that reigns in different areas because they specialize in that one sin. So to me, there were two different ways of looking at it. You could look at it as a not a trinity, but a octagon or octuplet, whatever you want to call it, of beings or spirits that make up the devil, or the devil being a one being, and the princes are what rule down beneath him. Because you remember somewhere in there it said never make a promise to the devil, because he's going to, I think he's going to defend it, or he's going to in so many words. I don't have it. Look, I hate to go flip through the book now, but it was saying once you promise yourself to him, he will do everything, nobody else can come against him. So that's when my thought of, oh, he's a separate being than the princes. Because it's like, you can serve one house, but if you commit yourself to the devil, that's something altogether different. When in that section, where was that? Where were we at? When she was signing over, she was talking to Antonio. I can't remember it, but so that's what changed my mindset in terms of the hierarchy in the kingdom of the wicked. It was either all of them collectively create the devil, or there is a devil and they are just underneath as rulers and overseers of these specific sins.
That's what I assumed, but I guess we'll have to read the next two books to really narrow that down. Real quick before I get to you, Cam. So on page 344, Domenico Sr. does confirm that they are werewolves.
Okay, I might have missed that. You said 344?
Yeah, towards the bottom it says he's explaining to her what the Benandanti are. He says, we're not them, but they've taken our symbols, so we're confused. Or we're often confused. We can physically shapeshift whenever we please. We're called Ember Wolves. The Benandanti are human. We are not. At least not entirely. Most would say we're werewolves. Werewolves, I repeated. You physically change into a wolf? Domenico Sr. nodded.
Okay. Please don't get angry at me for semantics.
Okay. Help me understand, because I'm not deep in the fantasy world like y'all are. So.
Even reading this, he says, you know the tales of werewolves, meaning you've heard the rumors of wolves. He never confirms they're a werewolf. He just states that that's something that she's giving her something to relate to.
Okay.
Because, and he basically says that, you know, we're something different. The Benedati are human, we are not. My guess in this world, the humans change into werewolves that are dangerous, horrific creatures in that regard. And these guys have a little magic behind them where they, I guess, keep there, because he talks about his son being changed and staying changed for a while before he came back to himself. A werewolf would not do that. A werewolf would change either with the moon or under certain circumstances. They're almost always driven by the lunar cycles.
That clarifies a lot. Okay. So Werewolf 2.0, they got a little magic in them. They got
something like that. Like I said, it's the difference between terminology. It's lycanthropy, which is drawn by the moon, and therianthropes, which are shifters. It's just some in the fantasy worlds, they take many shapes. Some, you know, shift into bears, some shift into wolves, some shift into mountain lions. It just depends on whatever the magic of that area, you know, entails. In this particular story, they shift into wolves. I just don't think they're what we would stereotypically refer to as a werewolf.
I did not know that. Thank you for that. Dang, they shifting into bears, tigers. Oh my. Okay. Pam, you had the map that you wanted to share, or did you want to share something else?
I have the map, and when she said, "Well, we don't know what hell looks like," that's why I was saying, "Hey, I know what hell looks like. It's right here."
Please do tell.
So, whoever, I think all of y'all have said it at some juncture that maybe they are rulers of their own areas. The map is called the Seven Circles. So it's the 7 areas of hell where they live. There's the gates of hell here. And then if you look, each area is in a circle. So they have their own areas that they rule over. So, and of course, the biggest house is House Wrath. That's this big boy down here. Who got the littlest house? Sloth. But Pride, I think
Sloth got the littlest house because he's too lazy to do anything.
it's Sloth and then Lust. But I think just based on looking at the map, I feel as though Wrath was so angry with Amelia after her deal with Pride, because Pride, according to this map, maybe could be Pride's biggest rival in terms of who is really running shit down there, because Pride has the next smallest house. So in Brad's house is right here. Pride's house is right here. So in terms of size, because to me, like each house, it like gradually gets smaller. So to me, I'm interpreting that as who is holding however much power. And if Wrath has the biggest house, but then the slightly smaller house, just slightly, is Pride, Pride might have a little vendetta. Also, Wrath's house is the closest to the gates of hell. So there's that. And each house just gradually gets smaller. So after Pride, it's envy, then greed, then gluttony, then lust, and sloth. He got this little tiny tower up on a hill. I don't know if y'all can see it. Right there.
Can you text us a picture of that afterwards? Like that would be really helpful. While we're here, do you want to give your first impressions?
Girl, I felt like I was on drugs. Reading this last part, I had to keep going back. I was like, did she just say that? What's happening? Why is Pride here? And then we got to sir. Hi. Back it up. We got to Antonio in the room with, was that Pride? And then she scared him so much that he pissed his pants. That was probably my favorite part of the whole section.
Girl, I died laughing.
It couldn't get no better for me than him being so scared that he pissed his
Atlas is trying to join book club. You got to be patient with him.
Lay down. Thank you.
I guess they work at the same firm or something, because this one over here decided he wanted to be a part as well. So.
And Radar right here at the end, just waiting. So I thought, like, my favorite part in the whole, like, last section was Antonio pissing his pants. He deserved every bit of that. Every single bit of that. He deserved some other things too, but she was gracious enough not to give it to him. So there was that whole little moment with Rad. My heart broke too, because all of Rad's actions, and that's what she was not considering. He doesn't act like somebody who's just trying to get something out of her. He was doing things to show that he cared. Yes, the protection was part of the initial summoning that she did, but I don't think she realized just how deeply he cared for her until she tried to bring him back and saw the ring and all of that other good stuff. And when I got there, I was like, you dumb bitch. Stressing me out. So yeah, I think the way that this book ended was great. I think, again, she made another really stupid decision, agreeing to attach herself to Pride. Huh? Okay, hold on. Jesus. Okay, hold on. Have a moment.
Continue, ma'am.
Stupid decision how she connected herself to Pride.
Yeah, I think the way that the book ended was really great. It was great, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next two. And I yield.
Did everyone share their first impressions? Yes. Okay. Mom, I see you had your hand raised. What's it?
When Glenna was talking about the contract with the contract, or was it you all were discussing that? I'm kind of on that same vibe on the fact that if she's betrothed, nowhere in there was that contract severed, because even after she signed her name, the tattoo didn't go away. And she got the tattoo because she was betrothed to him. So yeah, I'm curious, like Cam, as to what may possibly happen after she gets down there. I'm like, if she gets down there and he's like, well, I can't marry you, signed the paper, but you're not no longer connected to Rad, or because they are connected, is it, like you say, if that's true what Cam was thinking, because his house is bigger and he has more power, that may pull out a power play down there. You never know. So I'm curious to see what happens next too. And with that, I yield.
Girl, I forgot all about that tattoo. Look at the insights. Love it, you guys. Love it. I see a hand raised. Go ahead, Cam.
Can y'all just come back to me last for the question so I can go see what's going on?
I got you.
Thank you.
All right, moving into questions. We have revelations and twists, power versus emotion, wrath's death and return, the ultimate bargain, the role of prophecy, and a vengeful queen's rise. Mother, pick your poison, man.
Of course. Let's try power versus emotion for 200, please.
All right. Emilia chooses not to kill Antonio immediately, showing mercy despite her rage. Do you think this moment was weakness, wisdom, or strategic restraint?
Strategic restraint. Absolutely. Because she about to be the queen of hell. The queen. So, yeah, I'm finna mess with your ass. Now, here's the thing. But see, and this is what kills me about Amelia. This is why I say the child is smart. Y'all call her a kid, but she highly intelligent when it comes to dealing with these demons. Baby girl said, okay, I'm gonna sign this over, but y'all gotta keep y'all asses down here. Nowhere in there did it say she gotta stay down there.
Hello?
Hello. So yeah, I think that's a serious level of strategic restraint, because she said, oh, I'm gonna get that snapper. I'm gonna get it. But I'm gonna get it when you ain't thinking about it, I'm gonna get it. I ain't through with you yet.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she take Antonio down the hill with her? Anybody?
I don't remember reading that.
I feel like when she and Wrath was in the cave, Antonio was with her. Like they was all getting ready to go down there.
Did I miss?
He was there.
He was in the cave.
One of her
was
conditions.
He in hell?
No, he was in the cave, and my assumption is that it's because she's taking him to hell with her to be her prisoner.
Oh, that might be it too. But like I said, that's why I said she's strategic. Oh no, you done peed on yourself. Okay, I got you. But no, I ain't done with you yet, because you actually took my sister. Oh yeah, there's a whole nother level of hell for you, bro. She got it out for her. And I can't say that I'm mad at her about that. I cannot say that I'm mad at her about that.
I see your hand raised, Glenna. Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I know I'm going to be the queen of semantics tonight, apparently. Everything in the contracts and things say that Sheenie has to marry Pride. Where is it truly mentioned, other than her own inference, that she will be the queen of hell?
It's not.
Doesn't Pride rule hell?
Well, we
assume
we don't know that, but we're making assumptions, because Victoria talked about marrying the devil. Other people, her Nona kind of mentioned something about, being a queen in that realm, but none of the princes ever mention it that way. All they ever worded is that he needs a bride.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing that states that she gains power in her own right from the marriage.
Well, we know they gain power from the marriage, which would empower her some. But the irony of the whole marriage situation is, if in fact she is now signed on to be Pride's wife and is still betrothed, is it possible? Because I don't know what the laws of being hitched down there is. Can she be married to two princes at once? And
Probably
be that much
not.
more powerful? Why not?
Who knows?
They do it. They do it up here. Men have sister wives all the time. How come the brothers can't? How come she can't have brother husbands?
Okay, so still operating on the assumption that Pride is the devil. That's where the assumption that she would then become queen of hell or the underworld, because the assumption is that the devil is ruling the underworld. But I see what you're saying, Glenna, because in the spirit of semantics, ain't nobody actually said that's how this rolls.
That's why we need to read the second book.
Okay, My question on that hasn't anything to do with he can be the devil and he can be the king of hell. That's not my point.
That's not that she can be the queen, though.
You can be married to a monarch and have no power unless they crown you their queen. They have to choose to do that.
She did mention that though when he pulled out
Yeah.
that.
Claudia mentioned that he chose, you choose, but he chose too.
No. I mean,
I'll send it out.
in a different space when Pride first possessed Antonio's body
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
and he said, I got a gift for you, Stella Strager, and brought her this dress. And she said, well, I ain't got no crown yet. And he said, well, you will.
Okay. That's the part I forgot.
Okay.
So in that case, I withdraw my question. That's why I started it with correct me if I'm wrong.
Gotcha. It's been a while. I mean, I finished it on Sunday, but I had to reread it to do summaries. So I myself I had forgot some stuff. But
yeah.
And I don't want to tell you wrong. Let me go back to Okay.
Now that you mention it, I remember it.
Yep, page 361. The devil inclined his head. All hail the new consort. My heart pounded. I haven't received a crown yet. Oh, but you will.
Okay. And he refers to her as consort, which means he's going to give her power. Mm-hmm. What that power will entail, we don't know, but at this point, she's going to have some semblance of power.
And I think that's why she was holding off giving her wrath to Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Because she does recognize she's going to get some power.
Ooh, Antonio, you right to piss yourself, babe. Because when you get that freshly appointed queen vengeance,
there you go.
Whew. Mother, anything else?
With that, I yield. No, okay. With that, I yield. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Glenna, pick your poison, ma'am.
The role of prophecy.
The role of the prophecy. Knowing that Amelia and Victoria were part of a prophecy to break the devil's curse, how does that shape the morality of their choices? Do you think fate excuses some of their actions?
Well, excuse me. For the most part, with the exception of the truth spell and a couple of things as far as Amelia is concerned, she hasn't really done anything up to this point that is morally reprehensible. Vengeance fueled and stupid, yes. Morally reprehensible, no. So I don't think the prophecy has any bearing on those actions whatsoever. So she doesn't really have anything that needs to be excused at this point.
Including her torture of Francesco?
Francesco was
who she assumed to be Rap's advisor or the contact, but she put a truth spell on him.
I said with the exception of the truth spell.
Gotcha. I missed that. My bad.
No, I forgot his name. Sorry. As far as Victoria, we don't 100% know what she was up to, so we can't really judge entirely the morality of what she was doing, simply for our lack of knowledge. But I do think that the prophecy is what stirs Amelia to make the final decisions in this book that she did. I think that knowing that she was already set on this path, instead of her kind of weighing and hemming and hawing over it, she just made that decision because she knew that was already going to happen. But as far as Victoria, we don't know how much of the prophecy she did or did not know. So we don't know if it itself drove her to make the decisions that she made, to get involved with greed, to basically con Domenico into a contract with Greed, but I can probably guess that the prophecy itself was working on her to make those decisions because there's no other, at this time anyway, knowledge of any other outside influence on her. So one would assume that it is the prophecy. And what would you have your question?
Mom?
Question was, and this is just for clarity of my mind's sake, when Nana talked about the prophecy and the twins or the ones to break the devil's curse, she said they were supposed to be guardians to keep the world separate, but no one ever said how, because it didn't say one had to die or one was supposed to be guarding them while one had to marry. There was never any clarity on that. So do we know for certain that Amelia is supposed to be the one down there marrying it when it wasn't supposed to be her, or does it even matter? And that's
I don't
just
think it matters.
okay. Because I was that always bothered me, and I was just wondering because they kept talking about the twins being part of the prophecy to break the curse, but they didn't say in what way, other than they were supposed to help keep the realms separate. Well, the devil only needed one person to marry, so what the other twin was supposed to do if she didn't die? You know what I mean?
Sorry. The nice thing is about situations like this and books like this where they mention a prophecy but don't actually give us said prophecy is that they can make it work any way they want.
Gotcha. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss that somewhere in there. Okay.
No.
Yes, and to answer that, so what I remember reading specifically is that there's something about the as above, so below. Like it was repeated a couple times.
Right.
And also a very generalized description that one, like the twins were to provide balance. Maybe one in the human world, maybe one in the underworld, maybe one sacrifices their life and then the other one lives to go do something. Like there were at least 3 different scenarios that Nona explained that would all feel that, but these were all theories on what people thought the prophecy meant. So
gotcha.
Glenn is right. Like in that vein, it can be loosely interpreted.
Gotcha.
Also, we have, 2 twins who are vastly different in personality and action and kind of polar opposites. So for lack of a better way to word this, the oppositeness of them, you've got one now on Earth dead and one heading to hell alive. So, and with
basically one is still in both realms. So yeah, thank you. And thank you for clearing that. I mean, that was just something that was perplexing me. Thank you.
And with that, I yield.
Thank you, Glenna, for that assessment. Cameras, what will it be?
What was already done?
So Mom picked, girl, what did you pick? I done forgot already.
Power and emotion.
Power and emotion. And then Glenna had
emotion. Oh, sorry.
Glenna, what did you
pick? Than I ever dreamed.
Mute, Mom.
Mute, please. Thank you.
I did the role of prophecy.
Okay. Role of prophecy and power and emotion. So, okay. Them 2.
Wrath's death and return.
Wrath's death and return. What do you think actually happened when Wrath died? Was his cold attitude at the end justified, or do you think it was a defense mechanism?
Yes and yes. So when he died, I didn't think he actually died. And I never thought he died. I thought that, like all mythical creatures, his body just dissolved into his own realm so he could heal. That's what I thought happened. So when he came back, I was just like, oh, okay. He ain't dead. I didn't think he was dead. Cool.
I did question why he didn't come when she summoned, but that makes sense. If there was nothing to come, you just
Yeah. And it made me think, like, when she was trying to summon him, I was like, well, maybe his body is in too weak of a state for him to be able to transport himself from where he is. Like, he needs time to heal and recover, and you trying to summon him after his brother just mutilated his body.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he ain't trying to come to you right now. But when he came back, was his attitude justified? I think so. I'd be a little pissy too if the girl who I am out here loving on then agreed to marry my boneheaded brother. I'd be a little mad too. I also think he was defending himself because he never outwardly said that he loved her, but all of his actions showed that it was just that. Like, over the course of their time together, he started to fall for her. And she did too, unknowingly. It took for that man to basically, like, it took for him to basically be unalived for her to be like, oh no, I love him. Come back. And the whole time I'm like, you dumb bitch. Like, you just making stupid decisions time and time again. And now the man that you love is over here salty because you didn't agree to go with his brother. Now look at you. Stupid in love and mad. So, yeah, I was fully on Rad's side. Like, I was cussing Amelia out like the whole last 60, 70 pages. I was over it. She was pissing me off more so than usual. So I was on Rad's side, and I don't never be on the villain side. But me and Rad, we was ace boom coons for this one because she was getting on my nerves, and I yield.
It's the fact that the entire book club is cracking up on our cameras, girl. I'm over here dying.
It's the inflection for me. Oh no.
Oh no, I love him. He's dead. Come back.
That's what it was giving. It was giving a real Meredith Grey moment. Like, no, pick me, choose me over Diane. Like,
it's hilarious as heck. I'm sorry.
Girl, I hate it.
It was giving, like, she was being a real pick me girl. And she was like, oh, he really thought of everything. Come back. I want you now. Like, girl.
He gone, girl. He gone for now.
Deal with it. You reap what you sow, heifer. Yeah. So she was pissing me off the last about 60 pages or so. I was kind of over it. So me and Rad, we was together for the end of this book. And I again.
Thank you, Cam, for your double yielding. Appreciate it. Lord, what am I gonna pick? Okay,
I don't know, but don't do like Cammy because I need my inhaler right now because she just had me.
This girl, I'm gonna do the Vengeful Queen. The final line declares Amelia's intention to rule with vengeance. Do you think she'll stay true to her mission for justice, or will power corrupt her? Yeah. Yes to all. Yes to both. Yes to all. She gonna get justice. That's for dang sure. Now, how she does it, I don't know. But some people is gonna pay because she will have power. It's one thing to be this little star witch running around a tutorial, just running around, visiting people and making bruschetta for the Brotherhood. That's cool. But you are marked by wrath and about to be the bride of pride. In this here Pride Month,
come on, Ryman.
You can't be more powerful than having two Princes of Hell's power at your disposal in a way. So, being that she has already made some unwise decisions without that amount of power, I can only think that when she's in position in the underworld seeking her justice, that stuff's gonna overtake her, and she, in the process of getting her justice, she gonna be corrupted. Yeah, that's what I think. And with that, I yield. Ladies. Yeah. Any final thoughts, conclusions on this here book?
I need the second one expeditiously.
Do
It's
you-
like how it was when we read Hunter. It's like it ended so good. You really just want to know what happens next. This is why I love her writing, because it's really like, okay, it's over. So what's next? It would like piss me off if this wasn't a done series and I had to wait. Like I have to do a fourth wing. I would be pissed. So that's why Miss Carrie is that girl.
Not gonna lie, I needed a palate cleanser.
Yes. Please share with the group your palate cleansing book that you've been reading.
I don't know how to reinvert my screen, so I apologize.
Okay.
Spell Shop.
By Sarah Beth Durst.
Yeah, Sarah Beth Durst. It's essentially oh, here, I'll just make this easy. Keela has always had trouble dealing with people. Thankfully, as a librarian in the Great Library of Ecilium, she and her assistant, Kaz, a magically sentient spider plant, by the way, character's awesome, have spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most precious spellbooks, preserving their magic for the city's elite. When a revolution begins and the library goes up in flames, she and Kaz flee with all the spellbooks they can carry and head to a remote island Keela never thought she'd see again, her childhood home. Taking refuge there, Keela discovers, much to her dismay, a nosy and very handsome neighbor who can't take a hint and keeps showing up day after day to make sure she's fed and to help fix up her new home. That's the first part of the description.
The talking plant is what's
Yeah,
got me. You
absolutely.
said she got a problem dealing with people.
Exactly. So, like I said, palate cleanser.
Love that. Mom, any final thoughts, conclusions about this here book?
I just need us to spin to see what we gonna read again. Because if I don't want to get all excited unless we gonna be reading it the next
Question:
week.
Did you or anybody put the second part of this series on their list for
I
that?
did. I got the
Okay.
second part of all the
Oh,
series.
I'm about to
that
say all of Mom's
we- every
choice.
second book that
second.
we
Child.
She has Hunter second, Kingdom of the
Le-
Wicked second, and she
and
has Legend
Legendborn.
Born second.
Hello, because what happened
Them
to
all
King
your
Arthur's people? I'm just saying. It's all this, yeah.
Okay, with that said, we did briefly touch on, like, one of these weeks I mentioned there was a TikToker who did like the food rating of books and whatnot. Like, you got your cotton candy, little light reads, kind of like what Glenna just showed us. You've got your more substantial meals like a sub sandwich and some chips and a cookie. You know, it's not a full dinner, but it satisfies. And then you got like your Thanksgiving feast. What would y'all rate this? And what would you rate it on a scale from 1 to 10? Glenna?
As far as, it's not just a simple like meal, but it's not a like 7-course meal either. That's more like Pride and Prejudice kind of things. I'd put this as, a nice home cooked meal that one would sit down and have for dinner. It was definitely in depth. It had some stuff you really needed to pay attention to, but was by no means light. And I would put this as a solid 7.5.
Cam, what about you? What is your rating?
I don't know. I have to. I don't know because that kind of just threw me a little bit.
Okay, well, just give your numbers then.
Probably a 6 because it was still good, but it left you with a lot of questions, and that's generally how a series book or a trilogy book works. Like you end up with questions because it makes you want to buy the next book. If I had to give it a food, it might be a bacon and ham pizza, like a medium pizza from Domino's specifically.
Do tell.
And I said, okay, so there's layers to this, right?
Please break it
Oh,
down.
and it gotta be thin crust. Gotta be thin crust. Okay. So I don't eat pizza often. Like I gotta be really wanting it. Right. So I don't do I don't do period piece books often.
Okay.
Only when it's her.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my comfortable realm because all of her books that I've read have taken place at some point in history. Usually if I'm reading some sort of history-based book, it's nonfiction. So this is a fantasy book that's not taking place in every day. So I don't read those often. I don't order pizza often, but when I'm ordering it, I'm really craving it. I really love this author and I get really excited when it's time to read her books. But then that specific pizza, the thin crust bacon and ham from Domino's, when you eat it, it's so good. It's so good, but it got to be medium because see, a large is too much. A large is like we pushing over into like fourth wing territory when we get to a large pizza. So it got to be the medium pizza because this is giving medium pizza energy, right? But yeah, it's layers to it, and like it's really really good when you have it, but it's not something that you're gonna have like often, like every day type of thing. So she's a medium Domino's pizza, bacon and ham, thin crust. Now for my number, we're gonna stick at a 6 because it's there. It's delicious, absolutely delicious and slapping when I get it. It's just not an everyday thing.
Mother, what is your food that you would associate this book with and your numerical rating, please?
Okay, my numerical rating would be a 7.
Oh, do take.
As much as I enjoy her writing, there were so many areas of question for me that I'm like, unless I get the next book, I'm mad because my questions ain't answered, basically. So as good as it is, it's like I have a meal and an option of dessert, but I didn't get the dessert. So what the hell was the point? Because I come for the dessert. I won't. You don't offer me cheesecake and then don't let me have it. I'm pissed because I want the cheesecake. Who gives two flying freaks about what the meal is if I don't get the cheesecake? That's where I am. So, and the dolce de leche at that. So, whether it's a light snack or a meal, if you're gonna offer me cheesecake as a dessert option, Don't come around here with no goddamn chocolate chip cookie talking about some what? No, give me the dang cheesecake or the meal was good, yes, but that ain't got nothing to do with the fact that it ain't done. The meal ain't over because we ain't got the cheesecake. So this ain't over because we ain't finished. That's where I am. So I'm a little perturbed, but it was good. Yes, it was a good meal, but I'm still perturbed because I ain't got the cheesecake. That's where we at. Because we got to put a food reference to it. There we go.
So for me, numerically, I would put this at an 8. It's a little higher than some of y'all's because I couldn't put it down. In part because I had to do the summaries, but also because every time a chapter ended, I was like, okay, I gotta, a couple more pages. And because the chapters were so short, like in a matter of like a couple of pages, I could be done with a chapter. I didn't feel like it was such a labor to read this book as others like Legendborn. Not that I didn't enjoy Legendborn, but Legendborn's chapters were small but packed with so much information. This particular read was packed with information, but I feel like it was spread out enough to where like I felt like it was a good flow for me. Food wise, I'm gonna go the Italian route and say this book was a blackened salmon fettuccine pasta with Cajun seasoning, bell peppers, onions, lime sour cream. Like it was very rich. And it also has some garlic bread and some tiramisu for me. It's filling, but again, it's not the meal you're gonna eat every day. You really gotta have like a special occasion in mind for that type of meal. And I feel like this was a good book for us because it's special. We're all together, like we're all doing the things and we're all, reading together like a family. And so for me, meal wise, I think of a big, unnecessarily carb heavy family meal. That's what this book made me feel like, with the tiramisu and the garlic bread. And with that, I do. Anything else?
Carbs really unnecessary though. I feel like carbs are necessary in big family dinners.
Carbs are necessary, but the meal I had just described, I'm imagining an unnecessarily large tower of noodles.
Oh, okay.
You feel me? Like,
gotcha.
It's got a little salmon in it and not beef because it's got a little lightness to it every now and again because we had them little light funny moments. Right? Like, is this your first time summoning a demon? Like, that's salmon to me.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
I still didn't get the cheesecake after all that dang old pasta. That's all I'm gonna say.
You know what, ma'am? Do we need to get you a DoorDash of Cheesecake Factory or something? Because
No, I'm just saying that's where I am with this. As good as that meal is, because I'm with you with that I'm with you with the dish. I'm here with you. You want tiramisu? I want cheesecake. I didn't get my cheesecake.
You need that second book, girl.
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. I need to find out. I need to know. It's one of them. It's so good. I need to know that I'm mad about it because I don't know. That's where. That's
with that said, we're going to transition to Cam's favorite part of the month, where we spin the wheel and see what next month's book is going to be. You ready, Cam?
I am ready. So with all of our family numerical ratings, we have averaged a 7 out of 10 for Kingdom of the Wicked. Snap, 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 snaps. Because get degrees, baby. So I am going to share my screen and we are going to go to our magical wheel of reading. That's what I'm gonna call it. The magical wheel of reading. That's what it's gonna be. If it will let me share my screen, I'm gonna share a window. This window over here. Can everybody see?
I see the wheel. I saw the sign. It was on the wheel. I saw the sign.
Okay, so Glenna's choices for this month are A Deadly Education, A Dusk of Stars, and Legends and Lattes.
Woo woo. Woo woo. Go Glenna.
My choices for this month are Autism's False Prophets and Stalking Jack the Ripper. Mom's choices are Elite, Bloodmarked, and Kingdom of the Cursed. And Angel's choices are Bemused, Blood at the Root, and Curvy Girl Summer. And we're going to spin in 3, 2, 1.
Drama.
And our book for July is
See, now I get the cheesecake.
So congratulations, Mom.
Congrats, Mom. So book 2 of this series.
Let's be real. I know all y'all already bought it, so don't even play like y'all ain't already got the book in the house. So.
I don't have it actually. I have the third one. I need to get. I'm getting the second one. It's coming, but I'm excited.
Okay,
I'm excited for you. I'm excited. That's actually the first time that has happened. Where
first time, yeah.
We just right into book number 2. It's the first time that's happened.
See, Glenna already got the book. See, that's what I'm talking about. Angel got the book, so you and I the only two got to get the book, but you waiting on the hard copy, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look. See, I'm finna go.
You already got the audiobook, babe.
I got the audio, but I want the hard because I got to go. Trust me, all of these notes, baby. All of these notes, they don't come from the audiobook. Okay, I got to go back. Be like, wait a minute, what you said? What she said? Hold on, she said. Yeah.
So one of the things that, Cam, I think you might find interesting, and I'll bring this with me the next time we're going to be in the same place, is that in the special edition for Barnes & Noble that she did, she put her favorite chapter, which was chapter 11, and she put her own annotated notes in it.
I would love to read that.
So next time we're going to be in the same place, which might be August, but if it's before then, I will bring this with me.
Okay.
Because I think you'll like that part. That's one of the reasons why I got the Barnes & Noble special edition.
I love this so much for us. This is the first and only time it has ever happened where we've gone from one book in a series to the very next book in that same series. You know what? Kudos to you, Mom.
Snaps, girl. Big T, you did that.
So you already know Kingdom of the Third is on the next one. I'm just saying. Hello.
Well, that said, thank y'all.
I'm gonna want a nightcap app. I want some coffee with that cheesecake. I'm sorry. But anyway.
Oh my God.
Girl, I can't.
All right, well, let's get into it next week. Y'all have a good rest of your night.
All right. See you next week.
Till next time on the Family Plot. Woohoo! Woo-hoo.
It's the Family Plot. Come and see what we got. If you like mystery and fantasy, then this is the spot. It's the Family Plot. Come and see what we got. Follow on Instagram and YouTube and even TikTok.